Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But
Are we back?
We are
Yes,
back.
we are back.
On Thursday Night Talks, Brother Tony. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Happy Thursday. Just so happy to make it to this portion of the week. It's always a good day. We've all probably had a long day, but just ready to kick back and listen to some good information. And that's what we have on Thursday Night Talks this evening. Now, like I always come on and say every week, there's a few things that we ask you to do. Just a few things.
Come
just
on.
little things. Right. There you go.
Look, it's only going to give you fuel after a long, tiring day of work. Probably some jobs that we don't even want to be at.
Exactly.
Click like, click love if you're on Facebook, subscribe if you're on YouTube, share.
Right.
It doesn't cost anything to share. We're here to
doesn't.
give you valuable information here tonight through one of our guests and in our dialogue here tonight. So we look forward to your participation because this is your broadcast right here, not just ours, not Sister Kalila, not Sister Michelle's. This is our broadcast. So take ownership, click like, subscribe, share, and share it with those that you care about. And that should be everybody.
There you go. So there you have
All
it.
about people.
Now, and again, after you're done doing all of that, now once you get off this evening, you can always go back and take a look at some of the previous shows that we have had already that have been phenomenal. They have, just been a wealth of information that we always say, just do a little perusing down our page, and you'll find so much wonderful content, things that you can use and share with your friends and family. So I don't want to belabor the point. I don't know if I even said my name, but this is, of course, you know me, Sister Michelle. Wearing many hats on this show, but I'm so happy to be able to come on and at least, get to say hello first. And if I didn't say it already, assalamu alaikum to my Muslim family. Good evening. And just prepare yourself to be mind blown tonight. That's all I have to say, because it's a really, really, really good show that we're going to have this evening. And the sister that we have on is going to really give her testimony. But before I give too much away, I'm going to pass it to Sister Kalila, and she'll take it on from here.
Listen, you look, sometimes, Sister Michelle, I'm just, as soon as you pass it, I'm just putting it right in the basket to get it started. Because this show here is one of those shows that, you can actually say, I know somebody that went through something, and I know that
Gonna
person
hit
that,
home.
and it hits home, and it hits something inside of you that you be like, man, and a lot of times, you be like, man, if I was, well, we have a sister that was, and is striving, and is continuing to carry on the torch of just survival mode, but
Mm.
but but
It's
but
not just
winning.
surviving, it's
It's
thriving
winning.
now.
Look, not look, but winning.
Thriving
Winning though, brother Tony, winning and succeeding.
in all
Leap,
aspects of life, Sister
leaps
Kalila.
and bounds.
We're gonna get into that conversation
We
tonight.
gon' we gonna get into it, cause that's why I said, look, look, I don't got the ball,
Yeah.
and let's keep it moving. Let's keep it to moving. Let's keep it to moving. So, see, I'm going back to you, Sister Michelle. Let's get that bio read, and then we can get it started.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we haven't gone into the ministry yet, Sister Kalila.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, look,
It's all right.
I'm so
We're
excited
excited
about
to get
this
our sister on
show.
the program.
I am so
Well,
excited.
dear
Please, brother
family,
Tony.
let me begin properly. Dear family, thank you. So what this direction, you're passing the baton, the imaginary baton, but it's still baton. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, the one God to whom only praises are forever due, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. I am forever thankful to Almighty God Allah for showing his divine favor among us, black people, the aboriginal peoples of the earth, and raising from among us the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank Almighty God Allah for his choosing of that wise and awesome teacher, that master teacher, that in turn prepared and raised another teacher. And that one that I speak of is the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. In their divine names, I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Buenas noches. Sakpase. Aparagani. Hotep. Whatever language you're speaking in, whatever greeting you greet people in, that's what we're greeting you with right now. Welcome to
That's right.
Thursday Night Talks with the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled, put together by our regional ministers, Mr. Patrick Mohammed, on the instruction of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan back in after the July 4th, 2020 Criterion message, in which the Honorable Minister Farrakhan warned our people. We're talking about health here tonight. So he
That's right.
warned our people about an experimental COVID-19 vaccine, which in truth does probably more harm than good.
That's right.
This team was assembled to go out and do the research. We weren't shooting from the hip. We were going out and doing the research and warning our people about this experiment that was
That's
being
right.
performed about on the masses of our people and the American people in general. And so, dear family, we are still warning our people. We're still guiding our people to health and well-being.
That's right.
And so here tonight, the ministry that we're going to be focusing on out of the 9 ministries given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the midst of the Millions More movement back in 2005, we're focusing on the Ministry of Health and Human Services. And the Ministry of Health and Human Services provides for the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of the members of the society. The goal of the Ministry of Health is the fulfillment of the intention of the Creator for every human being to achieve his or her potential for both longevity and good health throughout life. Its efforts extend to the family and the community as well as the individual. And so, dear family, here tonight we're broadcasting this particular message to us tonight. Please take notes as you are going to be well informed about how our beloved sister that we will be introducing right now is not just a survivor, but a thriver. What game plan should we be developing for ourselves? How
Mm.
can we guide our people to better health? How can we pre-plan for things that are to come into our lives? Dear family, tonight we are very blessed and honored with the guest that's going to be giving a testimony. And within
That's
the
right.
word testimony, we have the word test. Will we stand the course? Sister Michelle, I give it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Tony. So I'll do the honors. So our guest this evening, her name is Maha Adachi, Earth. And she was born and raised in Miami, Florida, but now currently enjoying a slower pace of living in Morrisville, North Carolina. Maha is a poet, a mom of three, of bilateral. She conquered, let me say that word before that. She conquered bilateral breast cancer, and she's a survivor and a farmer now. She has shared her work on so many stages across the country, her work and her story, including in touring with an opening act, which would be Jill Scott, which she did live in the moment, her Live in the Moment tour in 2018. Her spoken word poetry infused a hip hop cadence with a soulful sway. Maha is a self-proclaimed love thug who proudly promotes Black excellence, healthcare advocacy, and sustainable living.
Come on.
She is currently healing and rebuilding her life after a strenuous battle with breast cancer. After her last surgery, she enrolled in classes at her local community college to earn a degree in agribusiness technology. Ma'a is currently the recipient of the Food-Inspired Resilience and Equality internship with the Center of Environmental Farming Systems. It's a program that's offered through North Carolina State University, North Carolina A&T University, and the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. Working with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Food Policy Council to help create fair, equitable access to healthy, farm, fresh food. In her daily work, she strives to combine her love of poetry and storytelling with her passion for agriculture and food equity to create a community enriched, healthy, and thriving. So if someone can bring up Maha Adachi Earth.
There she is. My sister.
Greetings, beautiful people.
Beautiful person. There you go. All right. Well, listen, before we even get into the questions, I just want to, Maha, if you can just maybe give us just a few, like a high level, just of who you are. And then we have some questions that we want to ask and want to get the audience engaged and kind of, your journey and how you overcame breast cancer and what you're contributing now to your community as basically you're an advocate, right, of health and self-wellness and so many other things. So if there's anything that you want to share before we get into questions, we're going to open up the floor to you now.
Sure. Well, the first thing I would like to say is thank you to you guys for seeing what I do and my story as something important and worthy to share with your audience. One thing that breast cancer has given me is that, I take all the goods. I take the bad and I turn it into something good, but I take all the good. And one of the good things that it's turned me into is an oversharer. So I tell people about my journey, and it helps them to not feel alone. It helps them to understand that you can advocate for yourself, that when somebody walks in the room with the white coat, that they are not the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful authority. They work for you. The doctors work for you. So everything that I do and have done up until this moment, I am just grateful that I have the ability to share it, because our white counterparts get diagnosed with cancer far more than we do, but we die.
Mhm.
We don't make it. So to be here, I am like, see my tag say gratitude is the attitude. I give thanks to you guys. I give thanks to the Most High, and I give thanks to the audience for being so engaged to want to listen to my story.
Mm. Wow. Woo. Okay.
Hey,
Well,
listen.
go ahead, Sister Lila.
Listen. So since we're sharing, because sharing is caring.
You
Yeah.
see how this is gonna be an awesome conversation already.
Right. Exactly. Can you share with us your journey from being raised in Miami to settling down in Mooresville,
Yeah,
North Carolina?
like Moors.
Mooresville, right? Yeah, with the X, right?
Significant name.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
And
so
yeah, and how did it change? How has it changed your environment, you're influencing your life? I'm sorry, and work. How did it influence your life and work at that moment?
so in general, I like to be a friendly person.
Right.
Miami isn't a very friendly city.
You
The
do
town that I live in now is a very friendly town. Like people are friendly, they're kind to strangers. So this space fits me. It's also the town that is my husband's parents' hometown. So this is my daughters go to the same elementary school that my husband went to. And so there's a very like hometown feel. Like I feel a part of the community because I'm a part. Him and I are one, and this is his community. So Mooresville is home to me. Miami is home, but Mooresville is a place where I can go in the backyard and dig up sweet potatoes and go in the kitchen and bake them. Miami, I can go get mangoes out the tree. Same, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just the friendliness, the safety. I have an adult son who is on the autism spectrum, and he wants independence, and I feel comforted that he can independently get on his scooter, go about his way around town safely. I would not feel that if we were in Miami. No, nothing against my city. That's my hometown, but it's it's a little rough.
It is.
Right.
It's a little gangster.
Right.
And I'm not so much one of those people who chasing the soft life, because I know it's supposed to be like soft girl season. I still go hard. I just go hard in the soil. You know what I mean?
I like that. I
like that. Me too.
But I don't want to have unnecessary stress. I don't want to be in the fight with somebody in Publix over the last peck of rice. Like I enjoy the slow pace, the kind neighbors, the school system that is in the top 10 in the state, and all you need is an address. You don't have to like apply for 17 different programs just to be waitlisted. So that is why I love Mooresville. Now, I live in a county that I go to a lot of agricultural conferences like North Carolina Small Grains Association, a lot of different agricultural conferences, because I work in integrative pest management and I go to earn extra hours for continuing education. And when I walk in the room, this is the part that throws me, is that I am the only brown face for miles.
Oh, wow.
Because it's not the city. I'm not in Charlotte. I'm in a small town just north of Charlotte. And you know how when somebody walk in a room, you turn around and look, but then you look back at what you was looking at? Oh no, when I walk in the room, they turn around and look and be like,
they keep looking.
Right.
are you lost?
Like, maybe this is the wrong room, right?
Are you lost?
It's the one next door.
Like, no, I'm here for the North Carolina Small Grains Association meeting. Thank you. Yes, I am here for the agricultural conference. Yes.
Right. Because we coming through at a theater near you.
Right.
That
I'm not used to that because I grew up in Miami. I grew up in a area that was 99.9% people of color.
Carol City.
So I don't
Regardless.
always understand microaggressions or
Right.
like some of the behaviors that our white brothers and sisters exhibit when they don't welcome you. You know, I'm not used to that.
Right.
So it is a little bit foreign to me. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes feel very lonely in those spaces, but I keep showing up.
Right.
I keep showing up. I'm gonna be at the Black conference and I'm gonna be at the regular conference. I'm gonna be at both of them because I need to get all of the information and I need to be able to take that information and share it with people in a way that everybody can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna keep showing up. They can't get rid of me.
Right. And don't let them.
They can't.
Sister Maha, just moving forward with the program. As a 2-time breast cancer survivor.
It was actually at the same time. It was in both breasts at the same.
Oh my God.
It happens to less than 5% of the cases.
Oh my
And the
God.
reason why they found it is because I kept sending it back to the tumor board.
Can you expound a little bit on that story and what, because you're come on, we go back. I mean,
Yes,
back
we
to
go
the
way
Urban
back.
America days.
Yes.
You know, we go back to the B-boy jam days,
Right,
the
right.
underground railroad poetry days.
Right,
in
right.
Miami.
Y'all telling
You know.
you're telling your
there's
ages.
history here.
It's all right. I don't mind telling my age.
I've always known you to have a strong spiritual foundation. As
Correct.
part of the cultural community here.
Correct.
How important was it to incorporate those spiritual foundations going through this experience that was unforeseen to yourself?
Right. So at turning 40, when I turned 40, I got my very first screening mammogram. In that mammogram, they found 5 masses. The very first screening mammogram, 5 masses. So I had 4 biopsies at one time. Those are the invasive, stick a huge needle in you, snatch a chunk of you out at one time.
Oh my God.
From the day that I got the biopsy, I turned into Rambo.
Wow.
My spirit became Rambo. I showed up to my surgery dressed like Rambo. Because I said, if it's a fight you want, it is a fight you will have.
Come on.
There was nothing in me or nothing about me. I sat in the very first diagnosis meeting. So after the biopsy came back and they said, we found that is positive for breast cancer. I could see my husband's face. I had to soldier up because I could see his face. He was about to punch that lady. I was like, don't hit her. She's just telling me what happened.
Right.
But I said, okay. So what you want to? So what we gonna do?
Right.
What we gonna do?
Right.
What's up? And I sat in this call. I have a cousin that just at the time graduated with her PhD in pharmacy. So she just become a PharmD, right? Mm-hmm. So this is where we mess up at. A lot of times we have people in our family that know the terminology, that know the lingo, but we don't want nobody in our business. And I'm sorry, but this is my blood. This is my family.
Right.
This is her business too.
Mm-hmm.
Right there on the phone with this doctor, because she's not going to speak jargon over my head.
Right.
And I said, okay, let's run through the what it looks like. Let's give me the map. And so they give you a map of like treatment options, and they give you a map of if this, then this. And when they were presenting that map to me, I had an ally on my side, not only a prayer warrior, but a scientist who understands the language, that the jargon that she may have presented to me, and not even realizing that she's speaking in jargon. But that's fine. You can speak all the jargon you want because I have a translator right here.
Right.
And when she laid out that plan and she said, oh, you know, it may be likely this. There was a new test that didn't exist 5 years prior to my diagnosis called a mammoprint. And they said if the mammoprint comes back low risk, then you won't have to have chemo, but we would recommend radiation. And then and so as she goes through the whole map, I point at what's going to happen. I said it's going to be this, and then this. And that is exactly what happened. Because I believed, I knew, there was no doubt. I said, we're going to do the surgery. They're going to find it in both breasts. It's going to be both at the same time. I'm going to get a deep flap reconstruction. I'm going to qualify for that. And the mammoprint is going to come back low risk. I'm not going to get chemotherapy, and I'm going to have to take hormones. Boom. I understood it. That's when I looked at that map on her if-then map of if it goes this way, if it goes that way. And I drew out my treatment plan. And then I took it to the tumor board, which is every brain in that hospital system in North Carolina. The tumor board was torn on a few things. I said, look at it again.
Right.
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 Until they get it together. My medical oncologist. So again, my mammoprint, because I had to have the mammoprint because it not only was it in both breasts, the cancer, but it was also in my lymph nodes. The lymph nodes is the airport.
Right.
Right. It means it's getting in the airport. It's about to board the plane and take off to the rest of my body.
Right.
So catching it in time. Probably should be getting mammograms especially if you have a family history from age 35.
Right.
But the standard is 40 or 45, depending on your family history or your insurance. So at age 40 is when I got mine. But maybe if I would have even went earlier, could have caught it even earlier.
Right.
That's neither here nor there. Caught it when I did. The lymph nodes that were tested came back low risk for recurrence. So if you hear those commercials that talk about breast cancer medication and they say if you have ER and PR positive, HER2 negative with high risk of recurrence or low risk of recurrence, 5 years prior to my diagnosis, that test did not even exist. So having confirmed that I was low risk for recurrence, my medical oncologist still wanted to go through chemo. And I said, but isn't it kind of like agreed upon that if I'm low risk, I don't have to take my body through that? And he said he'd been doing this for 19 years.
My God.
And that's new science. It's still new. And I'm like, I like new science. I'm a fan of new.
Right.
Throw the kitchen sink at me, sir. So, the day before we were supposed to get my port put in for chemotherapy, I called my nurse navigator and I said, let's do second opinion clinic. So went second opinion clinic the day that I was supposed to go get a port put in for chemotherapy. I went to second opinion clinic, and in second opinion clinic, you see 9 practitioners all in one day. And the very last practitioner that you see is the one that maybe is the issue that you're trying to dispute. And that lady looked me dead in my eyes and she said, if this was me and my body, I would not get chemotherapy. And I said, enough said, sis, y'all ain't have to keep me all day.
Like if you just should have just started with that. Right?
Right. Tell me that from the beginning. That's all I wanted to know. 6 months later, my doctor, the medical oncologist, who was no longer my doctor, said, well, you look pretty good. I guess you were right. So I guess so.
That's all you had to say?
Yeah.
Many doctors are just practicing.
Right. Well, now this is the thing. So I know a lot of people, and I'm going to say something controversial. A lot of people they be like, oh, I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'm going to do my own thing. I'll mess with the doctors. I'll go to the doctors because they have a lot of knowledge that I don't have. And I'm going to go to them and get that diagnosis. I'm going to go to them and get their suggestions. But I'm going to also find out if because most oncology practices also have integrative medicine. And what integrative medicine is it also incorporates things like Shinrin Yoku, which is forest bathing, and incorporates mushrooms. But it shows you how to add those things to the Western medicine in a way that doesn't defeat the purpose of any of it, so that they all can work in harmony. So if I wanted to add a new herbal supplement to my routine, I can go through integrative medicine and say, hey, I want to add this herbal results, which is my favorite, olive leaf extract. I want to add this to my routine, to my regimen. How can I do that in a way that doesn't have a negative interaction with my medication? And that is something that I did. A lot of people have access to integrative medicine and don't use it.
Wow.
Where you can get, through my integrative practitioner, I go get massage. What's the thing with the Chinese people stick the needles in you?
Oh,
Acupuncture.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I go get acupuncture, do forest bathing, do meditation, yoga, tai chi, all these things to add them to the Western medicine, so that the Western medicine doesn't beat me down. Now, it's something that Tony said in the beginning too. How do we prepare?
Come on.
So when I got diagnosed, one of my cousins in my inbox said, so I guess all that healthy eating and exercise didn't really help, huh?
That sounds like somebody's gonna come for me if anything happened to me, because I'm telling you, I'm like,
guess what? Both of my grandmothers had cancer. It may have been inevitable that that my DNA could not, that it had to just have this experience. It might not been something that I could have done to eat to block it. Don't know. But eating healthy for years and exercising for years. When I got diagnosed, I was the most fit I'd ever been in my entire life. Looking to my fine, okay? Fit, healthy, and you know what eating healthy and exercising did for me?
Come on.
exactly.
I recovered. I had a surgery that had me standing like this was my body. I could not stand up straight. And eating healthy, exercising, taking the proper nutrition, taking the proper herbal supplements, was able to rebuild my body back up from practically nothing. I gained so much weight just waiting to be healed, to be able to get up and walk. And in the last year, in 2023, I said, let me get back on and drop almost 40 pounds. Now I'm back into my fitness routine where I can actually work out full-fledged. And not only am I maintaining the health of the healthy weight, but I'm also now building my strength back up. But going through those surgeries, going through those treatments would not have been the same had I not already had a healthy diet, an exercise routine in place prior to it.
Wow.
It would not have been the same. It would not have been the same.
I want you to on the same topic that you're talking about, your experience. How supportive was your family through all of this? I mean, all these things that you were going through. Let's talk about how did that happen? Because you're a mom of three, so you know.
Oh, let me tell you.
You know your work doesn't stop. You know that, right?
Right. So I could say that. So my son is he's a weird genius. He's extremely high level, high functioning autism spectrum. When they used to diagnose Asperger's back in the days,
right?
We call it that no more. But he is on the spectrum. He's one of the lambs. He's not a gorilla. He's a lamb. You know what I mean? Like he'll be the one that'll just just kind of sit in the and hot, just be in his own space.
Succumb, right?
You won't
Succumb,
even know that he's
right?
there.
Mm.
But he showed up. He showed up. He was there. He was like, I'm here. I'm present. I'm here because my mom needs me.
Aw.
The little one barely like remembers any of it. And the big girl, so everybody says, my big girl Brooklyn, they'd be like, Brooklyn is she's not a businessman, she's a businessman. That little girl got focus and determination, and she is more mature as a result of it, but it is in a way that like it is so honorable and so just like I look at her with so much admiration, and I'm just like, girl, you are just I don't care if the world is ready for you.
Right.
But when I used to get up to go to the bathroom, when I would come back from going to the bathroom or go take a shower, them two girls would make sure mommy had a fresh bed every time.
Aw.
Wow.
Mommy had a fresh bed every time, and they know I love a fresh bed. Lord, ain't nothing. Okay. And then my husband washed my feet, change my tubes, clean my tubes, wash my feet, clean my scars, hold my hand, just like even now still work so hard to meet all of our financial needs so that I can complete my education.
Wow.
Because he knows how like important this goal is to me. And then my husband's parents, oh my God.
It's nothing like having good parents.
Oh my
good
God.
in-laws.
Like, so while everybody was kind of going through, I guess, the pandemic or whatever y'all was going through, I was in a bubble because for my own safety and my immune compromised situation, I was in a bubble of security. Nobody really had access to me, and it was great. It was great. I was in like a bubble of protection, and because my diagnosis was in 2019, my surgery was October 2019. My first surgery was October 2019. My second surgery was July 2020, and my third surgery was December 2020. So the whole time that everybody was like going through all of that, I was in a perfect little cocoon.
Being protected by your
And being
Special
restored.
shout out to your husband, Brother Christopher.
Yeah.
Probably watching out there.
Yay.
Special shout out to our brother.
My babe. So his mom and I actually, while I was in my bubble, we started a garden in the backyard. And we realized, just through the news and neighbors that like everybody was having food shortages. And we were able to go in the backyard and fill up baskets of food from just a really small rectangle in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
It was spaced properly. It was implemented properly with organic matter. And this was before I even went to school for agriculture.
Wow.
So knowing that I could feed neighbors and help my community with just the innate ability of her and I thought to myself, like, oh my God, how many people could I feed if I actually understood the science of growing food?
Wow.
How much impact could I make on food insecurity if I knew how to grow food for real?
Hold on. Hold that thought. Because Kalila, that'll take her into the next thought that I know that you wanted to ask. But she going in.
Which look, are you trying to pick my brain? Which thought?
She's talking about, she's expanding. Yeah, she's expanding on how she took what she learned something and she took it and she's starting to expand it. So she's talking about her passion, right? How, yeah,
that is true. Yeah, because I have a passion, but this show is not about me. But I did have a passion. It was a little toxic, right? and I made my passion out of a business,
Okay.
which is a boutique.
Okay.
And it was like it started from, hey, um I like money and I like clothes.
I like money. I like clothes.
So it went from liking money to liking clothes to helping people with self-esteem.
Right.
Like, because you sometimes, a lot of times, self-esteem comes from within self. But let's say you put this person that's down and out on a beautiful outfit,
Right.
it will change their whole different perspective on
Kind of
just
sit
the
up a
day.
little bit straighter.
Right,
Yeah.
it does. And that was pretty much my kryptonite to the world. Well, let me rephrase. A kryptonite for, getting myself out of that. Okay, what am I going to do? And so what I did is manifest I made my, how can I put, my toxicity of buying clothes to a consignment shop.
Okay.
And
I
so now
like it.
it went from consignment to now custom to boutique to consulting.
Right. But consignment is good because it's kind of, like the waste of like fast fashion is just like, when it's like most
That's
of the
me.
stuff is just like recycled looks
Ain't nothing
anyway.
new under this sun.
Right.
Right. So
So
yeah,
yeah, I
for
can dig it.
vintage, for everything. I'm just all over the place. And I just launched my website. I forgot to tell you, Sister Michelle. But this is not about me. This is about you. Listen, hey, I have another question.
Okay.
I think this is on the mind of a lot of women because right now we're in that, 40 age, and a lot of times, when and I don't know if it's just you, me, Sister Michelle, but I get sometimes these nervous things where, you know let's say you're on your cycle
Mm-hmm.
and your best starts to kind of get a little weary and
A
little
tender, yeah.
jittery, right? And I'll be like, oh, what could that be? Did you have some type of feeling or
Yes.
impulse or some type of energy that kind of said, you know what?
So I,
Okay.
I breastfed all three of my kids,
Okay.
and a lot of times, if you breastfeed, or a lot of African American women, we have dense breast tissue.
Mm,
So when you're giving yourself a self exam, sometimes you don't feel everything that's there. So you have
mm,
to do it in a way. You have to do the lay down. You have to do the stand up, the arm up. You have to move around and maneuver in different positions. But if you feel anything that feels not right, and especially if it also is combined with family history, then
right.
you gotta go let them people squeeze them things in that machine.
I love it. I love it. I love
You
it.
gotta go let
Yeah.
them squeeze them things.
Yeah.
And people be
And
having them shirts that say "Save the Tatas," and I'm like, the Tatas fed the kids. They served.
right. They
They did
serve
their
this purpose.
job.
Right.
Save
Right.
me, baby.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Save me.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
okay. So yeah. So and that's the thing, because a lot of times, when as we get older and we see like, oh, this sister, passed away from this and this sister passed away from that, it's a fear, right?
Right.
That
But
is triggered.
you can't be scared. You gotta walk up in there, you go get those screenings,
Right.
because
Right.
that's the information. That is the armor. And let me tell you something, the thing that can combat any fear is information. You gotta
That's a
Mm,
armor
fact.
yourself with that information. And then if you have allies and you have family members that are educated in the healthcare field, you gotta say, look, this is between me and
jeopardize
you.
them.
I
Right.
can't, I can't, I'm ready for everybody to be in my business, but I need your expertise.
Right.
And you gotta
Right.
involve them in that conversation. If you're not versed in that lingo yourself, and
Right.
you can't read those studies and understand all that research, then
Right.
you have to have somebody that can. And there are patient advocacy groups that do it if you don't want to have somebody in your family do it.
Right.
But that information is the thing that will combat that fear. Because let me tell you something, information plus faith will make you a gangster, honey. Don't even. Don't
Wait,
even. Don't come for me.
I have a quick question, and I'll let somebody else jump in. So, just two things with the mammograms. Now, I decided to take another route. I take thermograms.
Okay.
And then from the thermograms, right? So the premise is that a thermogram will see like it doesn't say, oh, here it is. It says, hey, your cancer cells are getting to a point, right, where it's becoming dangerous, right? And so it kind of it does a prevention, meaning it says, hey, you need to, whatever you're doing, you need to scale it down, get back on your regimen, because your cancer cells are doubling, and cancer cells double every 90 days.
Yeah.
So that's what thermograms does. And then what they do is they'll follow up and say, here's where we see your threshold is. Follow up and have an ultrasound right on the breast, just to make sure that what our readings are saying is correct.
Right.
Opposed to doing a mammogram, because the way it was explained to me is that once they do the mammogram, it's only showing you if it's there. Now, let's say you went, when you first had your mammogram done, let's just say they didn't see anything. Say, oh, my, you great. You good, girl. You go, you celebrate. Yeah. You good. And then all of a sudden you think you're okay. And so you may not go for another year.
Right.
To have another mammogram. And then all of a sudden the next year, they're like, oh my God.
Right.
You this is what's going on with you. You're like, well, wait a minute. I was just, well, you try to figure out what happened between then and now. And so it only spots it when it's there. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, have you heard about thermograms? And
no, where do you get that done at?
So they have one, they have them all through the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. And I believe they have them all over. You just have to look and see where it is. But if you type into your search engine, Google, whatever it is, and you put in thermogram, then it'll put up a list of providers that offer the service. And I remember when I first went, the first thing that they told me is that they won't, as a physician, they won't advocate for it. They really can't advocate for it, but look, because it's tied to some other things. But she said that a lot of her clients are doctors and their wives.
Yeah.
Well, and then they deem that as experimental or investigational. Those are the terms that they use, those medical terms to determine
to try to
kind of steer you away from.
Exactly.
Well, so then my question to you is like, why not both?
So what happens is, so there's been some studies, and you might know this already. So I did some studies on mammograms, and what they were finding is that because they're saying, just like you were mentioning, you don't know if it's in your family, things may change, and if it may strike somebody at an earlier age. But what's happening is every time you do a mammogram, low key, it's pulsing in low counts of radiation into the breast. And so every time it shoots in radiation into the breast, right, we don't know what's causing or what's happening at that moment. So what they were finding is that all this, they were advocating for mammograms, and they were really picking up the campaign. And I remember it, for many years, they were encouraging young people, young women to go have it done. But then with that, there was a rise in breast cancer all of a sudden.
Well, anytime that you do a rise in screenings, you're going to get a rise in diagnosis. That's just simple math. But radiation was what was used to kill the microscopic cancer cells in my breast. So I'm not.
So it's a twofold, right? So depending on the type of treatments that you get, they use it to kill it, but then it also does the opposite. It reduces.
I mean, it does harm. It's like, so the way my cousin explained it to me, she's like, chemo is like a punch in the face right now, and radiation is like they slipped you a Mickey and you're gonna pass out later.
And it also has long-lasting effects. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had 3, maybe one cousin and 2 of my very best friends that one is just got off of her breast cancer medication. She was on it for, I think, I don't know,
Like 5 years usually.
about 5 years.
Yeah.
So she just got off of it a few weeks ago. And so she, she's clear, but she had HER2 breast cancer. And so she caught it in enough time. I had another cousin who was already in stage 3. They caught it. She had to go through chemo. She had to go through all of that to try to get rid of it.
Was she triple negative?
I don't remember. It was some
because usually most of the African American women I know are triple negative. It's very rare that you find a Black woman that has I can't say it's very rare, but from my personal experience, it's rare that I've encountered Black women who have those alternate treatment options of being ER positive, PR positive, and HER2 positive. You usually encounter triple negative. And this is also new science, because prior to even understanding these hormone impacts on the cancer cells, cancer was treated by the anatomy, not the biology. So they would say it's what is stage 2 because it's this big, so we're just going to do this. And now they're saying, okay, the biology is saying that the estrogen is positive, the progesterone is positive, so these hormones are feeding it, and that's what's making it grow.
Oh,
yeah. And then when you add the HER2 positive, then that means you can do immunotherapy as well. So mine's where I had the hormone treatment options, because it was estrogen and progesterone positive. It was HER2 negative, so I didn't have immunotherapy as an option. But this is also new science. This wasn't how breast cancer was treated back in the days, and now this is like revolutionary. When you hear people talking about this in the commercials and stuff about HER2 positive or HER2 negative, there's so many different layers now of treatment options. And it's that every case is unique. In my two different instances of cancer, it was 2 different types of breast cancer.
Wow.
Ductal carcinoductal in one and lobular in the other.
Wow.
Like that's how vast that the spectrum of treatment and care can be. So how when you say doing a thermogram, if that gives you the information that you need to be armed and prepared, I say do it.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta have different options, and I think that you got to do what's best for you, and you have to be comfortable with that journey.
Right.
I advocate always the more natural route if it calls for that. Now, if you need to do something different, then you do what you have to do to ensure you preserve your life.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do both.
But you know what? I believe you can only advocate to do something. You have to do something.
Right.
Whether you do one or the other or both, the point is you're trying to preserve your life. You're trying to give yourself some more time, right, to be on this earth with your family and friends. And that's the goal. So whatever you do, the whole point is you got to do something. Right. So that you're armed with the information that you need.
There are 2 things that I want to talk about as far as supplements or herbal or whatever that carried me through this journey, that kind of helped me to stay cancer free and to keep a strong immune system. And one of them is turkey tail mushroom. So in the integrative medicine, one of the very first appointments that I had with the integrative medicine doctor, they talk about all of the science that around turkey tail mushrooms and how this mushroom has actually been proven to slow the growth of cancer cells. And so turkey tail mushroom is something that I've taken all through this journey, and everybody in my house could get a cold. I don't. Oh boy. My immune system's strong. And the other one is Herbal Results olive leaf extract. And it's another one that just keeps my immune system built up. One of the medications that I was taking, I said in less than 5% of the patients taking this medicine for breast cancer get hypertension. I was one of the less than 5%.
No.
So herbal results, olive leaf extract is very potent, very strong, but it kept my blood pressure in perfect tact.
Wow.
Also, like anybody in my house start to get a little tickle in their throat or get a cold, that's the first thing they do. We call it dirt because it's very strong.
He said dirt.
Take a shot of dirt. Because God made dirt and dirt don't hurt.
That's right. Put it in your mouth and let it work.
Yes. But yeah, so turkey tail mushrooms and herbal results olive leaf extract are two things that have carried me through this journey on the like more natural side. So while I'm doing the work that the doctors I'm doing the work with the doctors and pushing back on them anytime I feel like I need to push back on them, or just challenging them to make sure that they know what they're talking about.
That's right.
Oh, there's one. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to tell y'all this. This is so important. So y'all know about the studies that say that medical professionals believe that Black people have a higher tolerance for pain.
Yes.
So every doctor that I had on like one of our very first and second meetings, I sat them down, looked them dead in the eye, and I said,
Come on.
hey, do you think that because I have dark skin that I have a high tolerance for pain?
Hello.
And you know they're gonna give you the politically correct answer, the scientific answer. That's fine.
Right.
That's fine. You can tell me what you want to tell me. But me saying that to you, me having that conversation with you, looking you in the eyes, telling you that will put you on notice that I'm not playing with y'all.
Right.
So don't play with me.
Mahal, that's a myth that really came out of slavery.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because when they put Black people under whips and lashes and really experimented on Black people in slavery,
Right.
their whole argument was, and in some cases, the one that is called the father of gynecology.
Oh yeah.
Experimented on Black women in their private areas.
Right.
He made an argument in his medical journal about how Black women don't feel any pain down.
Right.
So I mean, this is nothing new. This is something that continues to happen. But I'm
not gonna let it play in the back of my mind and not confront it and like let them know.
Yeah, my brother just put up the name J. Marion Sims.
Yep.
Absolutely, brother Kokai.
Right. Like I'm not gonna sit up there and let it play in the back of my mind and not speak on it. And then after my second surgery, I overheard this doctor telling the nurse, because he probably knows that me and my husband would beat him up if things didn't go right. I overhear him telling the nurse that on a darker skin, these are the things you need to look for to know that there's a problem. So don't look for what you would see on a lighter skinned person. This is what you look for on a darker skinned person. If you see these things, if it looks this color or this way, then you need to let me know. And I was like, and I was kind of half asleep, but I was like, thank you, doc, because you know I don't play
that. Right. He was listening, right?
Yes. But sometimes you gotta just pull a card. Like sometimes you gotta just be like, hey, we're in this together. Look, and I want you to understand that everything you say to me, I'm gonna go back and research it. I'm going to challenge it. And also, do you think that because I have dark skin that I have a high tolerance for pain? Do you think that?
Right.
Wow.
So I have a quick question. And we can definitely surpass this, but I love this conversation because there has been times where you actually had women, right? From the fear, right? Going back to the fear because it's real. Just actually remove their breasts because they do not want to experience breast cancer.
Oh,
I
like
mean,
if they get the BRCA test and it comes back that they're high risk or that they
right,
inherited it, and then they
right,
just
there's
do
some
like a
right, some
preventative
genetic
mammogram.
type, right, some
Yeah,
genetic type,
yeah.
generation because they were actually this, gene or this,
Yeah.
you know. Can you kind of touch on that, because a lot of times, like I say, you have people that you really have no idea that they just remove their. It's like, hey, today is Thursday. I'm going to get my breast removed, and we're like,
Right.
why? Because I don't want it to happen.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with the BRCA test. I feel like it's all right. But the thing about the BRCA test is, and I'm not sure if that's advanced since my diagnosis, but at the time that the BRCA test only tested for a small percentage of the types of breast cancer and that you could inherit.
Right.
So it's a small spectrum. So if it gives you results that show that you've inherited something, then do with that information what you must. Maybe you need to make dietary changes. Maybe you need to incorporate things like turkey tail in your diet to be preventative. But I everybody's journey is different. So if that's something that if somebody's willing to go that far and that extreme, who am I to say that's not what they should do? Because
Right.
that's their body. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have just incorporated. Like if when my BRCA test came back that I inherited those genes, and I would have did
Right.
something different. But my BRCA test came back and said that I didn't, even though my paternal grandmother had breast cancer in both breasts also, just at
Right.
separate times, not at the same
Right.
time. Maybe at the same time, and just she didn't take them back to the tumor board 5 times like I did.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? But and on my maternal side, it was breast and ovarian cancer. Like it was coming for me. It
Wow.
was really coming for me. And then taking that BRCA test and getting a negative result that I didn't
Right.
inherit it, that also illustrates that it only tests for a small spectrum of
Mhm.
the types of breast cancers that the genes that you could inherit that would make you susceptible to breast cancer. That test needs to be broadened, but it is a tool. It's like a hoe in the garden. It's a tool. You can't use
Right.
it to do everything, but you can use it for some things. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Sister Maha, in this fight, this battle that you were in, and you're an artist, and you're like Erica Badu, you're sensitive about your craft.
Yes.
How did you incorporate different elements besides the herbs and besides the mushroom, besides the medication, besides these things? What else did you incorporate as part of the healing process?
So I would say there's 3 important aspects to my healing journey. One of them is rest.
Mm.
Come on.
I'll fall asleep on anybody. Rest.
Very important.
To let my cells rejuvenate them. To let my cells build back up. To let myself
Come on.
like just rest. It was so sacred. So that's why when I would go take a shower and I come back and my daughters made me a fresh bed, it was like they understood how sacred this was to me.
Right.
They understood that this was how mommy is building herself back up through rest. The second one is the soil.
Come on.
Put my hands and my feet in the soil.
Mm.
The soil is a living thing.
Come on. Come on.
There's the difference between dirt and soil is
Yes.
life.
Right.
We talked about dirt earlier.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Soil is putting my hands and my feet in the soil has given me so much joy. It is the way I seek joy. It is magical. It is everything.
Takes you
It's
back
everything.
to your nature, sis.
Yeah, and it's rooted.
Yeah.
Because when you're actually starting the planning process, it starts with a root. Our body is a root. It's a
Mhm.
tree.
Mhm.
So once you start developing that, it starts from the soil. and then
Yeah.
that's when your manifestation, even thought, comes from the
Right.
soul. So yeah, I
And
I I,
then
I can
and
appreciate
then
that.
lastly, getting lost in the forest.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Like Avatar.
Wow.
Put your phone on airplane mode.
Isn't there an African proverb that says that getting lost is the way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Getting lost in the forest. The Japanese people call it Shinrin Yoku, forest bathing, whatever you want to call it. Because growing up in Miami, to me, nature was the beach, the ocean. But where I live, we don't have no beach. We have the forest. And so it was finding a new way to connect with nature, not rejecting the forest. Black people be scared of the forest. We be like, "Ooh, what's up around them woods?" I, if somebody walk up on me, they're gonna turn into Swiss cheese. But
Kokai calls it forest bathing.
yeah,
Yes, forest
forest
bathing.
bathing. Yeah, that's what it is. Forest bathing, and just getting lost in the forest,
Mm.
listening to
Do you
the
have
forest.
mosquito repellent? I mean,
Yeah, I do. I
uh,
do. I do. I use picaridin. Picaridin is a bioidentical to a long black pepper seed, and it makes you invisible
oh,
to.
you got to share that, because I'm telling you, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we got to include all these for the tree of the week, Sister Toby.
yes, we do. You have to send these to us. You have to send
yeah.
us to us, because
But I'm
I'm
telling
like,
you, man, like, um, we don't. I don't know that we like. I don't know that we spend enough time just in those kind of spaces. I think that more of our time should be dedicated to spaces that give back to us as much as we give to them. And if you do spend time in the forest, please don't litter. Make every space you enter better than where you left it. You take your trash with you. But
I
yeah,
hear,
so I
I hear,
love hiking now. Like hiking is like everything.
I love it
mm.
too.
Get lost in the forest.
Oh yeah, that's Sister Michelle. Sister Michelle, she hikes, and she
Hmm.
actually climbs mountains
Hmm.
too.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And that,
So,
yeah.
so for me, just like to like say, oh, thank you, God. Oh, thank you,
Come on,
God. Oh,
come
thank
on,
you.
come on, sister.
The
Come on.
places where I get to do that the most is when I'm at rest, when I'm in the soil, and when I'm in the forest. I'm just like, oh, and you just might hear me yelling, "Worthy!"
Mm,
You hear somebody yelling "Worthy" in the forest. It's
that's
me.
you, right? Right.
Okay, you know what? I got a question, it'll keep the flow going. I'm curious. We talked about it a little bit before we got on the air, but can you explain to the audience what your name means, Maha Adachi Earth, and what is the connection between the meaning of your name and now your renounce or your renewed life's journey?
Right. So, the first thing, the one thing I didn't say earlier too, is that the acronym Maha Adachi Earth, MAE, is also my grandma's middle name because I'm a Granny's
Oh,
baby.
May.
My granny Daisy May.
Yeah. Oh, that's an old one. That's an old one
Yes,
there.
I'm a granny's baby. That woman saved my life on many occasions. Continues to save my life still. I say her prayers carry me still.
Mm.
But so Maha, so my first love, he said to me one day, he said, if you ever rename yourself, name yourself something that means beautiful eyes.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so Maha means beautiful eyes, but it's a few other languages like Indian people. To Indian people, it means great, like the Maharaji, or
Mhm.
yeah. So it means great. And then I think in another tongue, it means tears, and I like that
You
definition
mentioned
as well because I love a good cry.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
Adachi, which is Igbo, is Ada, which is daughter, Chi of God, Adachi.
that.
And The earth is my home. So back in the days when people would, their surname would either be their job or their place of origin.
Right.
The earth is my home and it is my job.
Oh, beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful.
So I am Maha Adachi, the earth. But
Beautiful.
it's crazy because it's like it really is like a full circle moment because I always like my grandmother was a sharecropper. She left rural South Carolina to move to Miami to be a part of the Great Migration, to be in the city. She didn't want to work real hard for pennies no more, as many Black people did. And
Right.
it's crazy because a lot of generations we lost so much earth science. We lost so much of a connection to the environment because, honey, after we got off them plantations, and nobody want to touch no plant, no seed, no soil, no
More
crop,
That's
teach.
no
facts.
field.
No,
That's
it's
facts.
pain associated with that, Sister Maya.
It
Right,
was,
right.
right.
And so to me, this in this role that I'm in now in agriculture, it is the reclamation of that earth science on my terms, with my own definitions, with my own leadership, to say that this is land that I own, that I choose to do with it what I please, and then who I feed and how I nourish the environment, how I regenerate the soil. And nobody is guiding over me or telling me how to do it and making me do it and not paying me to do it. So
Right.
so for me, agriculture is a reclamation of this. And my grandmother couldn't leave it behind because even when we lived in Miami, there was always citrus trees in our yard, avocado. There was always, I mean, even pineapple, collard greens. There was always something growing in our yard. We would never be out of food because we always knew how to make our own, how to grow our own. And there was a part of me that rejected that. I was like, oh no, I'm a
Mm.
city girl. I'm a city girl. I ain't finna be in no garden. Even my mama, before my mama died, my mom used community gardening in in the town that's just north of me in Statesville to help people with rehabilitation from drugs and alcohol.
Mm.
And at her funeral, there was about 7 or 8 people that stood up and said, I am clean today because of this woman. And what my mom used to help them was put their busy hands in the soil, put their
Mm.
hands in the soil to get their mind off of the things that had a vice grip on their soul.
Mm.
And so even when my mom was doing the gardening with like people that was transitioning from addiction, I would be like, Mom, I do not want to be out there in no garden. I am not doing it. I'm sorry. But I
Right.
knew the things that they do and that they taught me. And it wasn't so much that it was like memorized. It was just like, it's just in my hands. It's in my soul. It's in my eyes. It's in the smell. I could smell when the soil is ready. I know the temperature when the soil is warm enough. But like even my 8-year-old takes a watermelon seed, goes out in the backyard, puts it in the ground, and a few months has water. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, she has it
Beautiful.
too.
You know,
It's
sis, you
there.
mentioned that we had another sister on the show, brother Tony, that indicated that she had a, a a juvenile sister that she really troubled sister, and she ended up putting her hands in the soil and
Yeah,
actually
I remember that.
pulled out a worm
Yeah,
and made this worm like her pet, right?
yeah,
But it was from the soil that
right.
made, because she said this little girl never smiled. She was very mean and very, you know, very, disgruntled. And
Mhm.
once she put her hands in that soil, she thought that the sister could never smile, and she got a smile out of that sister.
Right.
And the beautiful part of it, she when she put took her hands out, she was introduced to life, and that was the worm. So
Mhm.
I love that concept. I mean, mm, I really got to be in tune with the earth myself. I think I've been so defeated with, you know I'm a brown hand, not a green hand person.
I reject
I know.
it. I reject it. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, because you have to find your season and you have to find your plant.
Okay, because I
Right.
got to.
You gotta find it's your season and your plant. It's the season that you are naturally just energized. What season of the year is that, right? Because some people be like they're winter people, some people are
Right.
summer people, some people are fall people. What's that season that you don't even need no
Mine is
motivation?
summer.
You
Mine is
don't
summer.
need no motivation. Nobody got to get you hyped up because you already hyped up, right? Let's start there.
You're right. Okay, that's summer. That's summer for
Then we
me.
go indoor or outdoor, right?
Definitely outdoor.
Okay.
Definitely outdoor.
So then now you need you a nice summer perennial. Something that's gonna come back year after year after year.
You just went over my head. What that's
Perennials are plants that they come back year after year after year until their lifespan ends. An annual, which is really awkward the way they name it, but an annual is a plant that you're only going to get one season out of. So what you might think you got a brown thumb, you might have been trying to make an annual a perennial, and it's probably only what's supposed to be there for that 1 year. Plants die. That's what they do. And you was thinking it was supposed to keep growing, and it was just an annual and not a perennial.
You know what? Also, too, I have learned all of my plants have been donated. So these are people who already started started their
Yes.
season with them, and then when I get them, they die, and I'd be like, oh, God, like my godmom gave me all her plants before she passed away, and I'm like, all of my dad, it's my fault. Oh Lord, Jesus.
It's all
But
right.
she, yeah. But then it's like, and then her daughter comes and was like, I thought you said you're gonna take care of my mama plants, and I was like, oh,
Right. Plants
what
die.
happened was right.
Plants die.
Yeah, so
Look,
I
look,
think I
people be
just
surprised. I'd be like, look, even my plants die. Plants die. It's okay. You know, they die.
right.
You put them in the compost pile.
There you go. I look, because
Don't
I
feel
was
so
just
bad.
I'm trying not to feel bad, but
But
like I
like
said,
when Michael Jordan makes shots, right? He makes a lot of attempts. That's why he makes a lot of shots, because he makes way more attempts than anybody else. So that's
Yo,
how it
this is
is
a lot.
with the garden. People who are gardeners make way more attempts. That's why they have way more shots.
right.
Seriously.
I like that analogy.
It's
Yeah,
the truth.
Excellent.
It's the
yeah.
truth. But I mean, plants die. Yeah, it happens. I do want to share a poem with you guys.
Yeah,
If that's okay.
you
Well,
better.
Look,
Yes.
yes, you better stop saying that. When people
stop.
be, I heard somebody
stop.
say, "Oh, somebody said I have a black thumb." It was a white lady. She said, "I have a black thumb." I said, "Me too. Mine's pretty." Look,
Sister Angela has a green thumb too, by the way.
just, it's just, it's finding the plant that matches your lifestyle. It's finding the plants that match your lifestyle. It's not trying to match your lifestyle to the plant, because that's impossible.
Right.
Nobody is going to wrap their whole life around a plant unless you're selling it.
That makes sense.
That makes complete sense.
No, that does make sense.
And I mean, like, I love plants because it's a part of like my family legacy. It's a part of who I am as the woman that in the space that I stand. When you say that you have a shop that's for clothing, I always thought when I was a young child that I wanted to contribute to the world in a way that would be either food, clothing, or shelter. And because this is what we need to make us human, right? Our food, our clothing, our shelter. Right. And so I give thanks, and I'm in so much gratitude that of all the years of me trying to reject it and being like, oh, I want to be in the dirt, in the soil, like that it stuck and I cannot shake it.
Wow.
Like, I really was just like, oh, I'm a city girl. I'm not going to be like, I'll do house plans, but I'm not going to be, like I'm knee deep. Most of the time you see me, I'm like filthy with like work boots on. And I love it. Absolutely love it. But I did write a poem
Okay.
that I shared with the group that I work with, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Food Policy Council, and it was just talking about like why agriculture, and what agriculture, I guess, how it kind of happened in my spirit and how it took over me. Let me go to it. Y'all can still see me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this poem is called A Seed. There's a calling in my spirit to meet the need, but all I have is God's grace and this seed. The guts to grow and cultivate food, fuel, feed, and fiber, the necessities of human existence to elevate us from survivors to thrivers, the guts to harvest sustainable nourishment, upgrading communal worth, and undertaking akin to giving birth. I am married to the earth, and with this seed, I thee wed. Determined enough not to let land scarcity slow my stead. To plant this seed, I will barter, borrow, or beg. Not sure you heard what I said. There is a calling in my spirit to meet the need, even if all I have is the grace of God and this here seed, to toil from 4 day in the morning till past my fingers bleed, and plead gratitude for the pain. Align my temperament with the sun, moon, and rain. Take measure of the soil horizons and alkalinity. Multiply it by divinity and add an affinity for cultural practices that produce abundantly, even on a small slab of land. Because on this principle I stand. There is a calling in my spirit to meet the need. And all I can really afford is God's grace and this seed, knowing that only 1% of the population feed 100% of the people, taking my first leap from 10 paces behind the starting line. So don't play in my face like we equal. My grandmama's grandmama mastered the earth math in the prequel. And in the field's early glare, I can hear the whisper of her prayer that someday I'd answer the calling in my spirit to meet the need, even if the sum of my inheritance is God's sweet saving grace and this seed. That's it.
Oh my God, child, you about to make me up in here cry.
That was beautiful.
Oh my God, that is
That was
amazing.
awesomely beautiful.
Honey, my name is Mahana. Listen,
Trying to steal your name.
My God, my God.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Really.
it was
That was
beautiful.
beautiful.
That seed, let's talk about it.
Right, because I mean, and when we talk about a literal seed, or we can talk about the metaphor for the seed that was like planted in my spirit, when I realized that I was given a gift that could actually save people's life naturally, and that if I didn't develop that gift, if I didn't use it the way that it was supposed to be used, then that was shame on me. That would be a shame on me. Shame on me. And being a poet and being a creative artist, it's cool and all, but like it ain't really nothing like being a farmer. It's cool, but like I talk to God through the soil, honey.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying?
No, you know, it's funny. We were talking about it, you before the show, and we were just, I kept saying, I said, every time I was, they were talking about you. So she sounds like she's an advocator of health. Sounds like she's a giver to her community. Sounds like she's supplying her community with information and knowledge on how to take care of their minds and their bodies and their spirit. I said, she's unifying the community with what she's bringing to the table.
Right.
Literally.
Right. Literally. Right.
Right.
So it's just a beautiful journey that you're on.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I work really hard. I'm exhausted all the time. I work really, really hard. And I'm fueled by the fact that like I'm really like sometimes the work that I do and the people that I work with, it's the difference between somebody having something to eat tonight and not.
Mm.
And knowing
Wow.
that like that they can get food that's produced grown like within less than 100 miles from their home,
My
that's
God.
also reducing like the carbon footprint that it takes to get the food from California
Right.
all the way to North Carolina when it's right
Yep.
here, when we can grow
Right.
it right here. So yeah, that keep me going.
Bloom where you
Wow.
planted.
Wow.
Hmm.
Man. Oh my God. Listen. You listen. Sis, we had 1,000 questions for you. This whole I'm just
It's
telling
taking
you,
a whole other trajectory right now.
It took
it
it
took
took
a
a life
whole,
of its own.
it did, it really did. It took a whole life of listen, I want to also share because I know that you made mention in regards to support. And I was we have what you call the knowledge corner. And this is something that is created because you gain knowledge, you gain power.
Right.
And our knowledge corner thing just dedicated to you. um Support is survival.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times because people die because they don't have the support that they need.
Right.
And a lot of times when we don't have the support that we need, sometimes we also become bitter. We come displacent. you know we even judge God, and was like, where
Right.
where are you?
Right.
And so I have something here that indicates about support, and it was related to cancer survivors. It indicates that cancer survivors often experience worse or periods of feeling down for months or even years after treatment.
Right.
You may feel sad because of the changes of the cancer that causes fear that cancer will come back, or
Right.
worries about the future.
Right.
Many people feel disconnected from their own lives before cancer. Some research show that joining a group, a
Support
support
groups.
group, right,
Mm-hmm.
actually improve both quality of life and survival.
Right.
Cancer support groups can help you feel better. It's more, it gives you more hope, and you are less feeling not alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? It gives you a chance to talk about how you feel and how to work through it.
Right.
Also, social relationships can also produce, strive to connect, you on a security level, emotional connections, also guidance, right? Like you
Right.
giving us guidance. Others can also provide, companionship, help, also share value, interests, like, right, what you're doing to
Right.
us, that can hold dear, and the opportunity to provide, um, sort of like a loving, a more nurturing, caring in return.
Right.
Those who feel that support is has a better quality of life and well-being. So
Right.
that's our knowledge corner. And basically you have identified every single one of those in this
Well,
session today.
and this is why I open up and talk about it too, because
Right.
this also then gives somebody like because I get calls all the time, DMs,
Mm,
messages all the time from people.
mm,
My cousin was just diagnosed. Can I give her your number? Sure,
mm.
sure. Because it helps people to like know that there's somebody that made it through on the other side is still out here kicking butt and taking names and will cheer them on. And I've been a cheerleader for many a stranger
Right. Right.
just because we've had this common ailment, you know. And I don't shy away from providing support for others because support was provided for me. There was an organization called Wind River, Wind River Retreat Center, and it was owned by a lawyer who got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she left the practice to open a retreat center. And this space was just like the space for cancer, people who are diagnosed with cancer, either in treatment or survivors, recent survivors, to go and be out in nature. And sorry, that's my daughter's bedtime. Oh gosh. And so that place actually taught me how to be a supporter. How to show support, how to, like, okay, so if somebody said they want to do this path of treatment or that path of treatment that might not align with my values or how I get down, but if that's their life and their body, I just support and show them love, give them encouragement, help them to go to appointments, do the things that can make them feel better about the decisions that they make for their body. Because the worst thing you want to feel is guilt about the situation that you're in, because that doesn't help at all. That actually probably adds more toxins to the situation. So just being around people who show me how to support helped me to be a supportive person for people going through the battle. And I know that, like, everything that some of my friends have done to treat their cancer, I didn't always agree with, but I'm there for them. I love them. I care. And when I got diagnosed, there was 4 other women that I call friends that were diagnosed. We all around the same time. And the last of them passed away last September, and I am the only one that is left. And I do not take that lightly. So when you talk about, like, the depression that you can feel, the survivor's remorse is something that none of these groups prepared me for. I was not ready for that one. And it was like, okay, there's a lot of pressure now. Why am I still here? Why did I make it? Okay, so then I must do the work. If I don't do the work, am I failing? So there's a lot of things that go through my mind being in that unique position, and, like, loving these women so dearly and connecting with them closer, because knew them from, like, the entertainment industry, but even becoming closer to them because we had this shared diagnosis, and then watching them, like, die one by one since 2020.
Wow.
It's been insane. Like, I couldn't even, when Jennifer, my last of the friends that in that group passed away in September last year, I lost it. I was just like, you could not reconcile me for that moment. I had to let it out. I had to cry. I had to just break down, and I had to experience that breakdown. Because she was such a beam of light. She was so positive. She was so inspiring. She was stage 4, and she, would just be like, her whole slogan was, her last name started with the letters LO. And so she would be like, love versus cancer, and that love was stronger than cancer. And her work, her image, like, she worked in education. She was a administrator. I think she was like an assistant principal, and everybody she touched just gave so much joy and laughter and life, and she was just like a very bright beam of light. And she was rocking stage 4 like nobody's business. When somebody told her to go curl up in a corner and die, she live to the heights of life. And so it's just that survivor's remorse, and having so many people that you love not make it. And it's not the same as my white counterparts, because they're making it, they're surviving, and it's different. They can't even console me because they don't understand.
Right.
They're surviving. You guys are making it through. You're coming out on the other side.
Reality.
Right.
Whether it's because you're getting better treatment through the medical providers, or whether it's the type of cancer that you guys are getting versus the type of cancer that we're getting. Because honestly, should we even be eating y'all food over here? Should
Come
you
on,
know? We'll get into that's a whole.
but that's real.
Yeah, but it's like,
and beloved, I'm going to tell you this. One of the reasons that you have survived, you are a living testament to how to approach an illness and how you can help others through your testimony, how to help others come out of it. And, we're very grateful for you to be on this segment, on this program right here, giving this kind of testimony. And right now, you don't know with whoever's tuning in right now what kind of hope your name itself, your birthday is hope.
Yes, it is.
And you don't know what kind of hope you may be instilling in the mind and being of someone tuning in right now.
Right.
We greatly thank you. We're very grateful for you.
I mean, like I said, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you would even think that my story is important enough to share with your audience, because I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna tell everybody. Tell everybody the good news, honey.
We gonna make it together. Like,
right.
We gonna make it. We gonna make it.
We gonna make
it. Yeah.
Boy, you're gonna lock on this
right now.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. Well, do we have any last questions for our dear sister?
No one has posted any questions in the chat. However, Sister Maha, I do have this question for you. If you were to run into let's say you had a time machine, and you were to run into your own self, 20 years younger, what words would you share with your 20 years younger self?
Get in the soil. Stop acting like that. You know better. Get your butt in the soil. You know better than that.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, we're gonna close it out, brother. Look, and before we close, we have to make sure, because sister asked, "Hey, where are y'all stars?"
Yeah, there is stars. Like people.
Yeah, but look, we don't have a star.
We don't have stars
a cash app.
Right.
If you benefited from some of the dialogue that was discussed tonight, if you were moved by what was discussed, and every week we bring to you quality programming that is geared towards saving lives, as we are the 7th Region Coalition to help save lives.
Right.
Any kind of donation, whether we can sing the song, Sister Maha, I got 5 on it. Don't sing the rest of the song though. Go ahead and put 5 on it.
Right.
10 or 20, $10,000 if you have it.
Right.
But please donate something so that we could continue this program. No one on this program here is getting paid. We're doing this from the kindness and love of our hearts, as our student regional minister assembled us for this very purpose. However, StreamYard is not free. Other streaming services that we plan to undertake and other programs that we're planning to undertake, those are not free.
Right.
There is a cost. And by donating to the cause, you are helping in the cause to helping save lives. And we're very grateful and thankful. Whatever you're able to make, we thank you from the kindness of our hearts. In the kindness of your heart, we thank you.
Nice.
All right. So, Sister Maha, any closing words?
So I would just say to everybody to be good to yourself, love on yourself, but that doesn't mean to separate, to be two things, to take yourself out of yourself. Just be good to yourself, get the rest you need, be kind, speak good words to yourself, The way that you would want a loved one to speak to you, the way that you speak to your loved ones, also use that same inner voice and speak kind to yourself. Fuel yourself with goodness so that you can extend that goodness out to others. That's it.
Very awesome.
Thank you. All right. So we're closing out. Hey, it was a good show. Stay tuned to next Thursday. We will actually begin
Continue.
again. Right. We'll
Continue our
begin
unity spirit.
begin
As
again.
we are promoting unity.
We are
Yes.
promoting
In the middle of, guess what? We're going to be in the middle of Ramadan.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be in the middle of Ramadan.
Yep.
Do we have the flyer for the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan? Oh!
Let me try to find it. I'm so...
Go on to any of our social media pages. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be on this upcoming Monday.
Right.
I'm gonna read off over here the flyer.
Yes, read the flyer while I'm trying to pull it up.
On social media, look up the Ummah Reflects. You don't have to be Muslim to be tuning in.
Right.
You know, you can be of any faith. You know, and even what you argue, oh, I'm not Muslim. No, yes, you are. You're one of us. And guess what? We're one of you.
Yes.
That's right.
The Ummah Reflects. This is on March 11th at 5 a.m. I don't want to get up there. Come on, make it a little sacrifice. You want to get it live.
No, because God's going to wake you up. God is going to wake you up.
Set your alarm like a little bit before 5 o'clock. Tune in and get that powerful, inspirational message that will inspire us to. We encourage not only our Muslim family, but anyone of any faith to fast with us during the month of Ramadan. It strengthens your discipline. It strengthens your will. It get into scripture. We read the Holy Quran from cover to cover during the month of Ramadan. During that time, we don't get into arguments with one another. If you read the Bible, go and read the Bible. There it is right there. But partake some type of way in the spiritual journey during that time of Ramadan so that we could grow closer together as a community, as Blacks and Latinos, Native Americans, the Aboriginal peoples of the earth. Let's come together and fast together. Give up something that is not good for you. You know, now, I might find myself, I don't know, I'm talking a little bit too much. Let me go a little bit on a
Brother Tony.
I'm sorry?
Not you, Brother Tony.
No, not me.
Hypothetically.
Not me. Not me.
I'm just saying, you.
I was quiet for the most part in this interview.
Scenario.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir.
None of you better come up with any smart comments over there in Facebook or YouTube land or Twitch. Yeah.
But this is, please tune in. Tune in.
Absolutely.
All
right. With that note, Sister Kalila, Sister Michelle, Sister Mahal, we're going to be closing out our program. Does anyone else have any closing remarks before we close?
No closing remarks.
Just thanking our sister for letting us share.
We are indebted to you, beloved.
Yes.
This is your platform. Whenever you would like to come back on,
anytime. You are home. You are definitely home.
With that, I'm going to say the words of Brother Lyle. We're not a clique. We're not a crew. We're not a... What else did he say?
Not a gang.
We're not a gang. We are the 7th Region Coalition to help save